I'm joined by head coach Hannah Givens from the University of Lynchburg women's volleyball team. They were picked number 5 in this year's preseason poll and also receiving a first place vote. And coaching, I'm going to say that has to go through the effort that your squad put through last year and was a whirlwind experience for you as the interim head coach coming into last season, then have to dealing with COVID situations. And you dealt with all that very well by winning 8 conference games, tying for the most in program history. Talk a little bit about the last year and just the type of whirlwind it was for you there, from coming in as a graduate assistant and then becoming the interim head coach and now the full-time head coach for the Hornets program.
Yeah, last year was definitely crazy, to say the least, but I think it was for everybody. First off, I'm just really thankful for kind of Beth Ellinger and how she set up this program and made it easier for me to take over as interim. And then also my AD, John Waters, for trusting me to kind of step into this role, and not only just a role as head coach, but a role as head coach in a COVID season as well, where everything's super hectic. But yeah, I mean, the year was great. We were able to practice in the fall, which was definitely different. Coming from being a player myself, where I'm practicing in the fall and then I have the spring off, coaching in the fall all the time was really interesting. But I think our girls really enjoyed it, especially with the COVID year and how, nothing was normal. I think they were able to step into the gym and it was a little piece of normal for them. They were able to come in and work really hard and not only work hard, but with their best friends. And so the fall was interesting. And then the spring was different. We all enjoyed traveling. We all enjoyed, being together, but it was weird only playing 12, 13 matches. And on top of that, it was one match and then you had a week or a week and a half until the next one. And so I think that was definitely a learning experience for all of us, because we were thinking about, that win. If we won, it was like, okay, we won the last one. Now we got to win the next one. Or if we lost, that loss was like festering for the whole week and a half, instead of the easy turnaround of, okay, we play on Wednesday, now we play again on Saturday, we got to erase it. So it was interesting. It was just a learning experience for all of us.
You just happen to be the last coach I'm going to talk to in these type of preseason interviews. And you're the first one to kind of talk about that week difference of, if you win, if you lose, what it is, because we all know that athletes, especially if you lose, you want to get right back out there at it. Right. Talk a little bit about the athletes themselves, about just competing through last year and what you're seeing as you transition into this preseason, about level of sharpness or their buy-in right now, or if, quite frankly, if you feel like you've got 2 freshman classes out there.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the players in the spring, not only were they having to play with masks, but they were having to wait that whole week.
Right.
And on top of that, we were able to practice more, which was nice, the 114 days. But I do think that it really wore down their bodies a little bit. And so this summer, my main focus was like, okay, you have 2 months and it's only 2 months and then we jump back into it. So you need to rest. And obviously, keep up with the conditioning, keep up with your weight training, keep up with getting volleyball touches whenever you can, but also like you need a mental and a physical break, because again, we're going right back into season. And it's awesome because these girls are definitely, I would say, more volleyball in shape, because, in shape and volleyball in shape is completely different. But yeah, they're more volleyball in shape. And also there's a lot less having to explain, volleyball IQ stuff, because we just talked about it 2 months ago. So, I mean, we stepped into the gym and I was like, all right, yeah, I've been planning practice for a whole year now. Let's just continue planning practice. There was no break. But I mean, overall, I think the girls are sharper. And I'll be interested to see kind of where the next few months takes them in a physical standpoint, if their bodies are worn down or if they are just as good as they were in the spring.
Well, I think we're all hoping that it's the latter point. They're just as good, if not better, than they were in the spring. So let's talk a little bit about your expectations for this team. I'm not going to name any players, anything like that. So if anybody that you would like to highlight, feel free to do that. But what are your expectations for this season's squad after qualifying as the number 3 seed in the ODAC tournament in the spring?
Yeah. I'm really excited about the squad. I mean, we lost 3 seniors last year, 2 that were able to play. So we have 13 returners overall. And on top of that, we have 5 freshmen that have came in. So I'm really excited about kind of seeing where these freshmen fit in. And I've even noticed, they're filling in spots that I didn't even know needed to be filled in. And so I'm really excited about how this fall is going to turn out. And on top of that, I mean, if you look at our schedule, we're playing really high level teams, and these
Yeah.
really high level teams are going to set us just in a program standpoint. So, I'm excited to compete against these teams and these coaches, and I think that the girls are really going to enjoy it too. But overall, I mean, I'm excited to see kind of what Emma Drake does for her senior year coming in as right side. Abby Leeper, her junior year.
Mhm.
Taylor Breeden, our now sophomore, I almost said freshman, sophomore setter. So kind of her second freshman year. This is her first full season. But kind of seeing these returners and how they show up leadership wise on the court is going to be really exciting to see.
You kind of led into, the types of things you want to see this year coming in, the coaches you're going to compete against, and that'll segue into the final piece that we talk about here is kind of your outlook on the league this year. We have a lot of good coaches in the league. You've seen what the teams can do, and we've seen some start to improve. So even though you're just really second year of experience in the conference, I'm sure you've got a great idea of what to expect coming out here. What do you see for the conference this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of said it perfectly. Like there are a lot of teams that are really showing up. And even walking into the ODAC my first year, I was like, man, this is a really good conference. There's no one that you can just kind of like look over in a sense. I mean, everybody you have to fully prepare for because you never know what's coming. And so, obviously we see some of these top teams that we expect to really come out and play every single year. And then some of these other teams too, like we don't know who they have in their freshman class.
Right.
And we don't really know who they're bringing in. And so I'm excited to kind of see the level of competition that we're going to have. It's going to be awesome.
You talked about, and just real fast, you talked a little bit about some of your other pieces of your schedule here about how you're playing some top programs, non-conference and whatnot. I think that's the case for a lot of the teams here in the league right now. What does that mean that the ODAC teams have been able to go ahead and schedule those type of programs that maybe we're on the cusp of seeing the ODAC take a step up in the regional perspective and maybe get that second team in the NCAA tournament?
Yes, definitely. I think that's just a really big nod to the ODAC. We're able to play these ranked teams. I know we're playing Susquehanna. I know that I think it's Randolph Macon. They go down to Emory. They play in these large tournaments too. We have CNU coming to us this year. I think just the ODAC teams kind of jumping in all these different areas is just going to raise the level of play. And whether it's this year or the next few years, it's really going to show whenever it comes to that region tournament.
Well, Coach, we look forward to seeing you get out there and we're happy to say is a fall campaign coming through. But I want to thank you for joining me today and previewing what's upcoming, not just for Lynchburg, but for the ODAC.
Thank you.